Liberia's 14 years civil conflict did not only destroy lives and properties, but several Liberians fled the country for fear of their lives and sought political asylum in the West African state of Ghana and other parts of West Africa. A good number of Liberian refugees have been residing in the Buduburam Refugee Camp, just miles away from the Ghanaian capital Accra, for over 15 years or more. Quite recently, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, have decided on repatriating those refugees back to Liberia on or before June 30 of this year. As the case might be, some of the refugees are very excited to see their motherland for the first time after the decade-long civil conflicts. Ahead of the June 20th deadline, I traveled from Liberia to sample the views of some of the refugees about the process leading to their returning home. I arrived on the camp made with dirt bricks structures serving as shelter for several families. Some of these structures are even too small to accommodate a family of about 10 persons. Nevertheless, I was quick to figure out that living as a refugee away from home can sometimes be horrible. The sense of livelihood of Liberians in the Buduburam Refugee Camp made me to pray that my country Liberia does not revert to any form of civil conflicts. It was a sight I prayed not to behold again. I decided to reach out to my microphone to some of the refugees who were busy preparing to get back home as quickly as possible. By the time I got to the camp, it was already raining incessantly. But it did not deter the desperation of some of those refugees I met in the long queues waiting for their turn to get their luggages weighed on a giant scale. The scene was so captivating that I even forgot to get permission from the office of UNHCR before snapping my first random shot. An angry group of men and women rushed out of the fence upon the flash from my camera. They demanded that I delete the photograph and identify myself. In fact, my camera was confiscated and taken to the UN refugee office. Who told you to take our photo and who are you? Give us the camera, they demanded. They made me delete the photograph that I had taken. Then I identified myself as a Liberian journalist, and I was later given clearance to carry out my duty without any form of harassment. When I got back to the fence, I spoke to some of the refugees, beginning with Josephine Zedi. Josephine left Liberia at the tender age of 5 during the 1990 civil conflict in Liberia for neighboring Ivory Coast, where another outbreak of political tension made her finally decide on a refugee life in Ghana. I came to Ghana in 2002 during the upheaval in Liberia, Josephine stressed.
My situation in Liberia, I don't even know Liberia. I was 5 years, I left from Liberia to Cote d'Ivoire, and I was in Cote d'Ivoire since 2002, August 14th, Cote d'Ivoire war took off from Cote d'Ivoire and bring her to Ghana. Since 2002, I've been in Ghana yet. I never moved anywhere yet, and I don't even know Liberia.
Since then, Josephine has been left to singly face life. She told me that on several occasions, she had to stay with friends because of the lack of funds and shelter. When I asked her how she had managed to survive 10 years as a refugee.
To live as a refugee in Ghana is not an easy thing. You are doing everything on your own. But by the grace of God, we are living on our own. You buy water, you send yourself to school, you buy your children, you do everything for you and your children. As for me, I don't have nobody in Liberia because I was 5 years and my father, my mother that brought me here, they died right in Liberian camp. That's why I was just living with friends, and by the grace of God right now they say everybody should go home, and we are ready to go home.
It seemed that Josephine's refugee life has taught her to depend on God after the death of her both parents in Ghana.
I'm going back home by the grace of God. With God, all things are possible. Right now, everybody is hoping on God, and we are going back home. God will make way for us. The same way God is doing in Ghana, He can do it in Liberia.
James Wulu was another person I spoke to. He's now 25 years of age, but he was 4 years old when he fled Liberia in 1990. I spent 9 years in Ivory Coast before moving to Ghana in 2000, but for now, I have spent 12 years living as a Liberian refugee here in Ghana. James narrates some of the challenges he faced as one of the several refugees on the Buduburam Refugee Camp.
Be a refugee is not an easy thing. Sometimes going 3-4 days without eating, starving yourself, especially we the student. Sometimes we go to school, after school come back, no food to eat, we struggle. You have to go and then no struggle hard, like hunting for frog. There's a lot of things, so it's not easy being a refugee and living on this camp. The situation is difficult. Everything here is painful. To even drink, you have to buy water. To bath, you buy water, you know. It's a lot.
Mr. Francis Neo is the refugee representative to the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, UNHCR, on the Buduburam Refugee Camp. He told me his disappointment over the repatriation process. He said that God has moved to touch the hearts of many of the refugees to return home, but the process is very slow.
People are going back. People are happily going back, you know. For the past year, people have stayed here for 10, 15 years. They are happily going back. They are willing. God has moved people to go back home. But people are going back, leaving some important things they have gathered over the years, because they are not allowed to carry more than, if possible, 40 kilos. So with that, we found it very, 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 I don't know, disappointed, you know. And the process, we were given deadline to leave. If you don't have contact overseas that you will be able to, somebody will be able to stretch hand over to you to send your things to Liberia, you will be left with no option but selling it for little or nothing. Things you have worked for over the years. So that's one of the points from where, you know, I got a problem, you know, people, they sure. Though forcing all of here, I see it, and, you know, it's a good thing for Liberian because there's time for everything. It's time for Liberian to go home, but leaving your things you are worth over here. Some people even attended the UN, the United Nations or vocational schools here. They gave them materials, and one of those materials, you know how much kilo it costs? Like for the oven, they gave people oven, people that did baking. They gave them oven, and the oven is more than 100 kilo, and you are carrying 30 kilos. So if you don't have overseas contact to help you send your things to Liberia, which means you selling out an oven that costs maybe 6 million, you're selling it 1 million or 500,000, you know. So really, the authority involved, we are appealing to them to, it's not late yet, a few people to go, they can come in to help people be able to carry their things to start up faster. Because if you have your freezer, you have oven, you have gas cooker and whatsoever, you open fast, you open your pastry shop, you can, instead of depending on government to help you here and there, you can start off fast from there. So far, that's the information at least I can share with you. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, somebody listening to you might not know what 30 kilo is. Is 30 kilo or 40 kilo equivalent to just a bag?
No, just a suitcase. A suitcase, but it left with the size of the suitcase. Not very big suitcase, but just the medium-sized suitcase. Maybe that will be able to carry your clothes, your wearings. Besides that, you can carry nothing more than 30 or 40 kilo.
How do you grade this whole repatriation exercise? Is it something that the process is speedy? Is it fast? Is it competitive? What can you say about it?
The process is very slow. I don't know what's the problem from the office responsible, but the process is very, very slow. To even come and confirm that you are ready to go, a lot of fighting can go on. Yeah, as I learned because me too, I'm a basic man, you know. As I learned from people who have been coming to the ground, they said they broke somebody's teeth from them up from fighting on the queue. So because of the process, now well organized, slow, they will put your name up. Today you are going on the 10th of this month. Later on, they will bring down the paper from the bulletin board. And the process is very, very, very not in place. Yes, it's not in place. Very slow.
Mr. Francis Neo envisaged that UNHCR may not be able to repatriate some of the refugees who are willing to go home before the June 20th deadline expires, because according to him, the process is not speeded and many people are not willing to go home. Another difficulty associated with the repatriation process is the issue of trauma. Younger Roberts, now a mother of 3 children, is a Liberian refugee in Ghana. Tear gushed from her pop eyes to roll down her cheek as she told me She witnessed her parents killed right before her very eyes while their family house was burned to ashes during the civil conflict in Liberia.
We are traumatized. We want to come back home, but somehow we don't have a place to be in Liberia. Our place of when after me I stand here, my father was killed in the war. Somehow we are going back with pain.
Yes, I understand. I understand the pain you're going back home.
I'm feeling the pain. I'm going home. So I'm appealing to any justice study. Please, any justice study. By the name of Christ, we are the mother for Ghana. We are coming back home. Please help our children in school.
She wants President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the UNHCR to pay more attention to people in her category so as to heal their wounds created as a result of the war. She wants what she terms as a start-up fund and the enrollment of her kids in school.
We are the mother, help our things that will be able to sell and help our children for the next future. We don't want to be to SIK another more year. We want to come back home. Help us for school, with money for our children.
So how many children do you have?
I have 3.
So what do you think you can do? Is there a skill that you have, a business skill or something?
Yeah, sometimes I go in the market, I buy orange, or I have banana, I sell, they go to school. Through the banana, they are going to school.
After June 30, 2012, you will no longer be a refugee. Choose to return home or stay. The choice is yours. It's a notice I saw posted on many buildings around the refugee camp. Many have been returning home in recent times, while some other names have been shortlisted. If all goes as planned, the government of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the people of Liberia will experience a massive increase in its demography. Reporting, I'm Emmanuel Gibson from the Buduburam Refugee